Now I am going to talk about water pollution. From the definition, we understand that it's the water which is not useful anymore for drinking. The reason for water pollution are four main reasons. First, the high populated country, industrial countries, wars, and the governments which are not good enough to take care of their countries, such as we're in Pakistan, where there is no access for flushing water. I'm going to talk about the three main dangerous effects, which are the chemicals, which are driven from the factories, the chemicals as well, which are used in the soil for growing well and also for stopping weed. And of course, I'm going to talk about the oil, which is driven from the ships, such as what happened in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait during their war, where the oil got into the water and there was no access for fresh water. Those are the three main dangerous effects or source for water pollution. Those three, of course, when they pollute the water, the people in the country get affected, of course, from the health side, and as well from the psychological side, which I'm going to talk about it now. People get depressed and stressed, of course, for knowing that them as humans has no access for the main source of living, which is water, and as well knowing that if they drink it, they will get ill, so they get frustrated, and some people started to hate their countries, and of course, the visual or the view of the dirty water is as well a major effect or a dangerous effect of our psychological side. The solution for the water pollution is, of course, stopping throwing the chemicals in water, use the water wisely, and plant a lot of trees around the main source of water. Secondly, I'm going to talk about crowding. Crowding is considered as both a source, a cause, and a form of pollution. Crowding as a cause because it produces a CO2 and it produces a noise, and it causes visual pollution. And crowding as a form because nowadays the crowded transportation, crowded institutions, and poor areas which are full of people are also considered as a form of pollution. So crowding is both a cause and form of pollution.
What is air pollution? Air pollution is the condition in which air is contaminated by foreign substances or the substance itself. There are two types of air pollutants. First, primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. The primary pollutants are the pollutants that are directly emitted into the air, of course from sources, and these sources are like toxic materials like lead and metal and particulate matter like ash and the car exhaust, smoke, and volatile organic compound like propane. There's also the secondary pollutants, which are the pollutants that are formed from chemical reactions that occur when primary pollutants come in with other pollutants. So examples are atmospheric acids, photochemical oxidants. So the six major common pollutants in the world are: first, the ozone, which is a gas that is formed into the atmosphere due to the burning of fossil fuels, and the carbon monoxide, which is an odorless, colorless, poisonous gas that comes mainly from motor cars and combustion exhaust, and the nitrogen oxide, and the nitrogen dioxide, which both are produced when fuel gas is burnt, and especially in power plants and cars. And there is also the sulfur dioxide, which is created mainly when fuel containing sulfur is burnt in power plants and diesel engines. And the particulate matter, which is a microscopic particles and tiny drops of liquid resulting from the burning of fuels by industry and diesel cars, and from earth-moving activities such as construction and mining. And the last one is lead, which is a poisonous substance. Why do these pollutants come into the air? First, what causes these pollutants to be emitted into the air? So the forest fires are one of the reasons, and the cars and the planes and the garbage and the open burning and the factories, of course, the waste of the factories. So when we do like this thing, like use cars and run cars, the particulate matter pollute the air, and of course this is how we get smog and this is how we got smog and acid rain. And of course this changes the weather, and that's the result of changing the weather is the smog and the acid rain. So what the air pollution have on us, what effect air pollution has on us. So the psychological effects are the anger, anxiety, stress, we feel tired, we feel depressed, and of course this affects us all. So we should help ourselves, and we should do something to reduce this air pollution. So what can we do to help? Drive less, like for example bike, skateboard, rollerboard, walk, and recycle. So we are going to talk about the top 10, and especially the top 4 countries that contain pollution. So there is China, USA, India, Russia, Japan, Germany, Iran, Korea, Canada, Saudi Arabia. The thing that these countries have in common is that they are high in population but low sustainability. Me, myself, Nushka, I'm going to talk about the United States and why is it considered one of the major polluters. So a research was made which stated that in 1988 US companies released 1.2 billion pounds of chemical into the nation's air and water. So basically it's water pollution and air pollution. And each year 1.2 trillion gallons of untreated sewage and stormwater and industrial waste are dumped to the US water. And in the presentation there is the huge number of metric tons that stated that US released. And also the last one is that Louisiana and Texas are one of the 2 emitters of oniological.
So when it comes to China, China is considered as the main or the most polluted country in the world. For me, I think the main reason for this is that when we compare the land or the space of China to the population of Chinese people, there is a huge difference. So of course the high population affected the land and the water and the soil and the air because of the more use of chemicals, and this made China the main polluted country. Of course, as well, the industrial side of China, they have more than 40,000 factories as well, because the Chinese are centered in the capital. They have more than 40 million people living only in the capital of China. The psychological effects of this pollution is that they found out that the rate of divorce is increasing. The suicide rate is also increasing. They started to leave the country, and the divorce rate as well is increasing. And the government started to solve this problem by applying the one-child policy, which forced the mothers and the fathers to have only one child, which of course affected their psychological side negatively, and this is why they're divorcing and they're committing suicide, and that's why...
One of the top polluted countries in the world is Russia. Pollution levels in Russia are now so high that in many countries the average life expectancy is less than retirement age. It fell from 70.4 years in 1963 to 69.3 in 1990. In 1991, 40% of male deaths in Russia were below the official retirement age of 60. In some particularly polluted areas, the average life expectancy for men is less than 60 years, and among some of the Arctic tribes that are already small in numbers, it has fallen to 46 to 50. The main sources of pollution are heavy industry, the oil industry, and radiation from both military and civil nuclear activities. Factories such as the Baykalsk pulp and paper mill have contributed significantly to water pollution in Russia. Also, nuclear power plants in Russia present many dangers to the Russian environment. This year, the budget of the Russian Republic has fixed a sum of 50 billion rubles to the fight against radioactive pollution.
India is one of the world's most polluted countries because it has a rapidly growing population that passed from 300 million to 1 billion, and this puts a strain on their environment, which causes them stress and of course problems and psychological problems also.
This is the end of our presentation. I am May Haddad. Nadine Gamal presented noise pollution, Iman Maki presented water pollution, and Nushka Gatwari presented air pollution. Thank you, doctor, and hope that you enjoyed our presentation.